97.9 The Box is the Madd Hatta Morning Show. Anderson Paak in the building.
Yes, Lord.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Let me start here before we even get into the deep stuff. I saw a performance of yours one time, and I always think that somebody that is this talented has to be crazy. You do everything. This is me not BSing you. You do everything great. I saw you play drums. I saw you sing. I saw you rap, and you just don't rap. You like a high caliber MC. And when I seen it, I'm like, man, there's got to be more to this brother's story to be so talented on so many different genres. And I say that because how do you decide what you gonna do when you make an album knowing that I can be in a band and just sing if I want, or if I want to, I can let go of all this, I can just rap, or I can be in the background and just produce everybody. So how do you make a decision about what you're going to do? Or there is no decision. It's how I feel today, and this is what I felt like doing.
Yeah, I think how I feel, I just take it day by day. I'm just in there recording, being creative, and, doing music that moves me. And honestly, that's why we went with the city thing, when we started in Venice and Malibu. Each of those things have different feels. And that's kind of why I did it, because I wanted to give, like, a location for all these musical personalities and stuff. So you'll see with this album, with Oxnard, it's like I'm doing one certain thing a little more than I'm doing on the other albums.
Why is that? And were you forced by anybody like, okay, Anderson, we think you need to move in this direction a little bit more?
Nah, I just record a bunch of music, like hundreds of songs, and I'll pick the best ones, and then it'll be like, oh, this is what I want to, the story we want to tell on this album, and it's always after the fact.
How hard is that for you to decide? Like you said, when you got hundreds, and are you the only one that makes that decision? Are there some people that you believe in? Because I read somewhere that said that every time you do something, you have a tendency to send it to Dre and see how Dre is feeling about it.
Yeah, this one I did with Dre from top to bottom. Like even if he wasn't like necessarily doing every song with me, I was sending him each song, and he was like my co-pilot on this album. Like we was going back and forth, like what you think about this, and then the album just took was going through different shapes, and then eventually we were like, okay, these are the songs right here.
Anderson, how was it? I don't know why I always assumed that you were signed to Aftermath, but I noticed that you're just really Aftermath with this new with this new stuff that you're putting out now. But you had never been signed to Dre. But whenever I think that Dre has something to do with your music. How long has he been around in this music that you've been doing?
It was after I put out Malibu. Yeah, I signed the. Y'all pay the light bill?
That's a good question.
That's a fair question right here. That's a very fair question.
We got 30 more minutes.
Exactly, yeah.
We're going to at least make it through the interview.
Right.
I know that for sure. We've been paid up through there at least.
I done forgot what I was talking about.
You being hooked up with
like
Dre.
your sweater.
Yeah.
Oh, when you and Dre linked up initially. Because y'all
Oh, yeah. No, that's the dope thing about it. Like, Dre, I worked on Dre's album, Compton, and then he dropped that, and then I still wasn't signed to him. He put the album out and put me all over the album, and I was like, oh, excuse me. And then I wasn't signed yet, and then I still had one more album to put out in my independent contract, so I was able to put that out right after, and then it was like I was able to like bank off of that whole momentum, and then after that I signed him direct.
Right. So what's the whole hookup with you and Dre? How'd that even happen? Where did he see you at? Because you got an interesting story, and I'm gonna get you to tell that too for the folks out here that may not know your story.
Yeah, I got called in one day to work on the album, and they were like, Dre's working on the album. I was like, yeah, right. And then they're like, all right, for real, he wants you to come in. Okay. So I go in the studio. As soon as I walk through the door, I see Dre and DOC. I'm just like, dang. They like 10 feet tall. So excited. And then they like go back in the room to watch basketball, and then I go in the studio, and Maz and JT are in the studio. Those are the two writers, two artists that were on that album as well. They're like, we love your song, Suede. We want you to help write on this album, this and that. And I was like, okay. And they put on the beat, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. Just like, I love the music. And so I just wanted to get on the mic, and they were like, we're going to play Suede for Dre. I was like, he hasn't heard none of the music. They're like, nah. I was like, okay. Well,
so they brought you in. So Dre don't really know that much about you at this point.
Yeah, Dre's not, avidly on SoundCloud, like finding all the music. But he's got people around him that he trusts, and they always bringing him the hot stuff. And so you know, they were like, yo, you got to check out this kid. And he came in the room, they played Suede, and he was like, okay. He played it again, He was like, that's gangster. It's hard. Let's go, let's work. So I got on the mic, started like spitting stuff, and he was just like, we was just working ever since then.
Now, does he know about the other musical talents that you have at this point?
No, he didn't know.
So he just thinks you're an MC at this point?
I don't know, you know, he just thought like the first song we worked on was All in the Day's Work, so I was doing like singing and rapping a little bit on that. And so I think he just every day I was there, he was seeing what I could do and like start to see like, oh man, he's capable of a lot. And then seeing my live show, and he was just like, what, you play
Your
drums
live show was
too?
crazy.
Yeah.
Live, you crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was just finding out like as it went.
So let's talk about the new album. So Oxnard, is it going to be about you growing up there?
No.
No?
Oxnard's about same man, new car. So it's like leaving and coming back, you know, with something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like all the things that we learned along the way. Malibu took us all over the world. Like I never thought I'd see some of the places that I seen after I put that album out. We like touched every continent, and this album's like about bringing it back to where we got that foundation from. So yeah, it's talking a little bit about my upbringing, but it's more about what has happened, you know, since Malibu.
How's your upbringing? How does this influence your music?
My household was like soul, funk. I grew up with like Stevie Wonder, Frankie Beverly, Curtis Mayfield, New Edition, Tribe Called Quest, like Mariah Carey, Ninja Turtles. Like that was
Classics.
yeah, just all the classics. And so that was what I grew up around. And then, you know, Oxnard is Ventura County's real, you know, small town vibe. It's not a bunch going on. And it's like you grow up there wanting to get just to the major city or, you know, leave out. And so my perspective was always different. I didn't really grow up in a fast-paced city like that. It was like, you know, small, slow, and sleepy. And so when I got to LA, I had to do a lot of like observing and stuff. And I wasn't really quick to like, you know, jump in there and do it. And even when I did jump in there, it was a learning process for, you know, 10 plus years until I got, you know, comfortable with myself and was like comfortable in what I could do. So that was all me being from that city and how I grew up. That was, you know, a big part of it.
A lot of the music that you put out at first, is this you doing it, or were you always signed with somebody else?
Nah. I started my own label and then did an independent deal with Empire. The first time I ever really signed anything. Right. And that was for Venice and Malibu, and I own those masters still. And it was like, I never had like a real major deal until now.
Go back to that. You said you own, because a lot of people don't understand ownership. How important was that for you, or was it even important to you? This is just something that happened to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
or was it something that you wanted and you made happen?
Yeah, my manager at the time was just really adamant about, you know, making sure that whatever deal we got into, it wasn't like a deal, it was like a partnership, and that everything you do, you're gonna have to pay for it. So having this big, crazy multi-million-dollar deal is cool, but you're going to have to recoup that. And so if that's not what we're ready for, then we don't need to do that. And there's definitely a lot of different avenues that we can get into where we could still own our masters and have creative control, which is really what I realized that I really wanted, because I was able to put the music that I wanted out and, you know, really control my own artistry. And also, you know, with publishing too, holding on to the publishing, you know, there's a lot of times that I didn't even understand the whole concept, but early on, people were trying to get me from my publishing early before I even like had anything in the pipeline. And now it's like all these different things that we have, like licensing, and I never really had a radio hit, but I've been on every product placement and
Movies,
video game and all that
exactly.
stuff. And that's all me. That's, you know, or whoever writes the song, which is, you know, a lot of times me. So, you know, if I would have signed some publishing deal or I gave up my masters early, none of those checks would have been coming
Glad
in.
you said that.
We were having a whole lesson
she's
on
smiling,
this yesterday.
She's smiling.
I was like, I know all
She's
these
smiling.
words.
She's smiling because we were educating her on as soon as you said the word recoup, she smiled because
the word
she
of the day
knows
today.
she knows what recoup means, and a lot of people don't understand that, particularly artists, and they don't understand, which is beautiful when you meet an artist that understands what his publishing and why it's important to keep it, and what recouping is all about. and remembering that the record label is nothing but a bank loaning you money for your dream, and they're going to be paid back first. Recoup.
Can we talk about the name for a second, too?
Absolutely.
So why'd you decide to put the period after Anderson?
It was for detail, when I was going by Breezy Lovejoy.
Why'd you stop going by Breezy Lovejoy?
It was corny.
You grew out of it.
Yeah. I remember my mentor was like, "Are you really going to introduce yourself to Dr. Dre as Breezy Lovejoy?" This is like years before I met Dre. And I was like, "What? That's, you got a point." And so like, I was still Breezy. Like a lot of my friends, my bandmates, people that know me for years, they still call me Breezy. But I went through this whole process when I was about to have my son, and things were changing for me, and I wasn't selling weed no more, and I was just committed to just being my own artist.
Legally.
Yeah.
Legally.
At the marijuana farm.
Oh, look, she's looking in the back. I'm so happy he said that part legally.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm just gonna do me. I'm gonna focus on me and put everything into it. And I didn't understand that. I just thought, I'm talented. It should all happen for me. I play drums. I can sing, rap. I look great. I should be able to make it happen. And then nothing was happening for me. I was just doing like a bunch of nothing. And like, I realized like I didn't really have any work ethic. Like,
See, this is important. I'm glad he's saying this.
Yeah.
He realized that.
So what'd you do different to get the?
I just locked myself in a room. At the time, I was working with this dude. His name was Brian Lee, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna help you out, bro." Like, I really didn't know what I was gonna do because I had a family to support, and I was like about to just get a job again because I wasn't making enough money to support the fam, and it wasn't working out. And so he was like, "Cool, I'm gonna just don't worry about that. I got an apartment, 2-bedroom. I'm gonna turn the other bedroom into a studio. We got like a little laptop, a couple of speakers, and a MIDI board, and you just gonna make music, just you. Don't worry about like hooking up with no producers or nothing. You have the ability to do everything yourself. Study how you can be you in a room and just wake up early and make music. That's it, every day." And then that was it. And so I just got up every day and got in there and made music. I had like a little vision board. It's like all the people that I liked and like what I, future people that, maybe I wanted to be like or had things in common with. And I was listening to music, and I make music every day. I make like 2 or 3 songs a day, go home to the family, eat dinner, play with my son, and do the same thing every day. And I did that for like 6-7 months. And then after that, I had a bunch of music, and it didn't sound like anything I had before. And then that's when we were like, we should change the name. Like, we was going by like Breezy Lovejoy for like 6 years before that, and it was happening. That's why I say, I was working hand to hand to no avail. You know what I'm saying? It was like I thought it was working, but it really wasn't. And it wasn't until I really put everything into it, worked every day like it was my last, that I realized like, dang, it takes a lot of work. And so after I came out of that, I changed my name and I put that period there to remind myself it takes work ethic, and also too, it let me know whoever doesn't put the period, it told me a lot about them as well.
Like that.
Now, you said you changed your name. Did you have any other ones in contending that, you went with
your top 5.
Top 5 that you were thinking of?
Nah, it was always just like a play because it's my real name. Anderson is my last name. Paak or Paak, how it's really pronounced, is my middle name. But that was the thing we were going with. Should we keep it Paak or Paak? And I was like, I want to keep it Paak because I don't want people to maybe think like it's a band or like more than one person.
Does everybody say it different? Everybody pretty much says.
Yeah, now I'm hearing more people say Paak now because I think
because they heard you say that that's the way it's supposed to be.
And stuff. Yeah.
Do you have a preference? Would you rather Paak?
But we were always like, yeah, let people go back and forth with it, because it could be interchangeable. And when you get to Europe, certain people are going to say Paak, some people are going to say Paak, and also too, I didn't want people like. You the new Paak, saying like Tupac and anything. I'm from the West, so there's only one Paak, so. But, I let people do what they do as long as they cut the check.
You sound like me on that part. All right, so check this out. Let's go back to this whole weed selling thing. We've heard this story, but I want to know if it's true, if you were really selling this weed. Obviously, legally, obviously legally. He's on the West Side, so legally. But then I heard that you got laid off from the weed thing. But you actually, okay, if you work at a weed spot, what exactly is a day of work like when you work for a weed
farm?
There you go.
So
Thank
I
you.
read on the web.
Yeah, we were trimmers. we started off as just like grunt workers. Me and my boy Jose, Free Nationals. We were just like.
What's a trimmer?
It is so when the weed it comes out like when it's in its raw state, it has all these big leaves surrounding it. It's not when you get the little bud. I don't know. I actually have weed in my pocket. I just so happened.
Look at his team. Look at his team.
No. Okay.
Look at his team.
No, I don't.
They went in panic. I wish y'all had to go put the cameras on. They just went in panic mode.
This is just for.
They just went in panic mode.
For educational purposes.
Yeah, it's educational, but like you see
This
how
is educating. Y'all don't have to turn y'all backs like y'all don't know who he is no more. He's still y'all, man. He's just keeping it real. Okay.
I'm just off education.
He educating.
But
One day it's gonna be legalized here too.
Exactly. Yeah.
He gonna be gone before they see this.
It don't look like this in the beginning, you know? It's like, it's all these leaves around it. It's like all bushy and stuff, and you have to trim all the leaves and get it pretty before it gets to your pipe, you know, or whatever you smoking in. And even before that, you have to cut it, trim it, you know, cut it out the ground, dry it for days, put it in brown paper bags. I mean, it was all this whole process, yeah. And we were a part of all of that. And then when it got to us, that's when we were just there to make it look pretty. And we used to trim for hours, and we used to get paid by the pound. And we couldn't make no money like that nowhere else. You know, it was making like $200 a day or something just trimming weed. Like, what? It was a dream. So we just sitting there listening to music, like bullshitting, trimming. Take a little for us. Everything's good. Yeah. So, yeah.
Are you surprised that weed is starting to get legalized in so many places?
I'm not surprised, man. It's just like everything's the same. Once they figure out how to like get a hold of the money first and like you know organize all that first, then they're gonna do it. It's just like how this music game is. It's like, you know, the DSPs make a lot of money on music, and a lot of people didn't get paid from that, and they knew that they had
Explain DSPs.
The Spotify's and Apple Musics and all that, how y'all get music. It was chaotic, right? Like before, you know, they didn't really know how to operate, because it's like everybody's getting music, downloading music. Now it's like rare that people actually like are downloading it straight. Now people they know like, okay, we're gonna stream, pick a streaming service. But then it's still, they have to make rules like to it, you know. Now it's like 1,500 streams is one play, you know what I'm saying? Or that's how it used to be. Now they passed the Modernization Act, so now people
You
can
are
get
really
paid.
on top of all this.
I gotta be now.
This
It's
is
like-
rare for artists to understand all this and this
I
detail. I
love
loved
this.
it, man. I love
do
this.
it.
Yeah, you know I did,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I do. Because most artists, I told
don't
you why
know or they
most
don't
artists
care.
get in the game.
Yeah.
They excited about after this is a guy who came in, got a family, got this. So his learning maybe it's different.
I'm learning
you know?
as I go. Yeah, I did not know anything about this, and it's just you know, as I go, it's like I'm getting more interested and starting to see how things are working around me and stuff. And you know, everything's moving fast, but you know, I was saying that once they figure out how to get the infrastructure right or whatever it seems like, then that's when they start.
It'll go around the corner.
I think it'll be free, and I think it needs to be legal. It's really great medicine for a lot of people that need it, you know, like besides just people that want to smoke, like it's got a lot of healing aspects for people that are suffering.
I just hope that it's equal for those who get to sell it, that it is definitely those that have been the ones that have been pointed at as the bad guys over the years. I just hope that I see people of color have the opportunity to sell it, just like some of these corporations, because corporations are coming in and making, and you know why they like it too? Cash.
That's right.
It is a cash business.
Yeah.
I don't believe I'm here talking about weed, but anyway, it is a cash business, and it's big money.
I don't smoke it. I just keep it on for fragrance. That's really my thing. But.
Do you educate, when you talk music, do you educate your other friends on all the stuff that you know? Because you are privy to information that most artists, I have to be honest and say, they don't understand recoup. They don't know what it is. They signed that contract, but didn't really read it.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. You know, that's the people around me have put me on, you know, to these different things. Everybody I'm around are people that are entrepreneurs and like some of the best business people, and that they pave their way doing their own thing. You know, Dre being one of the main dudes. So he always puts me on the game. So I'm always trying to pass it down to different artists, you know, that I'm around. And it's just, you know, you can't lose from that when you passing that kind of info around. Everybody should be aware of that stuff.
Best advice you gotten so far from anybody, Dre, anybody, somebody we may know that's giving you like that right there was, I'm glad that person told me that.
I I mean, Dre just told me, don't do anything you don't want to do that's not in your heart, and that you got to, of course, know your worth and just be aware that everything is affecting your legacy, and just everything counts. See it before it happens, man. Don't be like reacting to stuff after it happens. Like that's the worst thing. Like just try to see it before it happens, because you can't afford to take no L's out here. And if you're smart and you see it before it happens, then you can be real strategic, and you don't have to be looking crazy out here.
I'm just dude, 'cause I have little kids. When did you first get into like playing music, and what was your first instrument that you picked up, and just the evolution of your songwriting?
Yeah, I mean, I was into like early on as a kid, I was into like dancing, beatboxing, man, like graffiti and stuff, like and then once I got to the drums when I was like 12, and then that was when I was all about like working on a craft, my instrument. But before that, man, I was just like a little hip hop baby. Like, I mean, after that and before it, I was just like, everything I wanted to do was just learn how to learn every lyric from a song, and watch BT and MTV and learn the dances. And then I got on the drums, and then it was all about learning drums, and I got into playing in church, and that was it. That was like my whole foundation.
Can you read?
I can read a little bit of basic charts, drum charts, but not really.
You dope on them drums, kid.
Thanks, man.
No, for real. That's all I'm saying. I've never seen somebody do everything really, really, really great. And you see artists like that, like, he got to be crazy.
That's all. So when you write,
But you not.
when you write,
I am. Y'all seen the mob me today.
Right.
so the process when you write, which instrument do you go to first when you write, or is it just kind of a mismatch of everything? Because
Oh, good question.
Mitch Max, yeah. I'm gonna get some sort of structure and thing soon, but honestly, I just take it day by day. Like, if I'm getting a beat from a producer and I love the beat, I'll start writing. In my notes. Sometimes if I'm in the studio and there's drums, and I'll get on the drums, lay a groove, loop it up. Then I'll get my boy, I'll get my band, Free Nationals, to come in, and they'll start laying stuff on top of it, and then I could direct them like, okay, maybe try this, or actually, hold on, let's try to do something like in this, like a bass line like this, or something like that. Or I'll work with another producer that'll come in, and I work with a couple of producers that really can play everything. I love working with them. It's like they're real capable, so we can go back and forth. And I like utilizing, musicians and writers in a room. If there's like a bass player, a songwriter, a keyboard player, and then someone that just rolls weed, I can like utilize everything. Go. Yeah, that's like my favorite thing.
What do you call your music then? Because you do so much different stuff. If you had to, and I know every artist hates labels, but if you had to label you,
range, dynamic, that's what I'll say.
would it have a name?
Does
your music have a name? Do you call it something? Your style?
Sexy.
Sexy.
Wet. Slip and slide. Yeah, man. It's just like feel good music, man. Like good energy, light, love. Just music to build you up. Some people make music to build. Some people make music to destroy. I'm on the right side of the chair, So that's it, And I could take form to whatever, when I'm in that it's just like water, I could spill anywhere when I'm in the mold, and I could take shape. And then when I spill out, I could just spill out to anything. So that's all it is. I just have fun. And with this album Oxnard, it's like really embracing that, like having fun, like with the single with Kendrick, with the two-step, with the roller skate, you know what I'm saying? With the West Coast roller skate music, we really taking it there all the way. And it's never, we're never trying to do something, regurgitate something that's been done before, or retro, or anything like that, or even trying to do something future. We're just making music that's timeless. That's really where we want to get at. So maybe that's the word, timeless.
Is your relationship with Kendrick long-standing too? Because it seems like there's a very easy flow there.
Yeah, I met Kendrick like around the time I put out Compton, or when they put out Compton, and that's when I first met him, and he hit me up and was just like, it was a text. I didn't know that it didn't have the number, and it was a text like, "Yo, it's a trip. Life's a trip. I found you. I knew about you when you was Breezy Lovejoy. I seen a video where you were like in the liquor store, blah blah, and that really inspired me. And then I didn't know you changed your name, and then I hear you on this, and I recognize that voice, and it's just crazy how things happen. And it said Kendrick at the bottom. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. I was like, yo, what's up, man? This and that. And then we started talking. I met him at the studio a little after that. And that was right before I put out Malibu. I played him all of Malibu, and he was like, yo, this is it, man. You got it. Like, this is gonna be crazy. I can't wait till this is out. I put it out, and we're always chopping it up after that. And another real friend in the industry. You know, he has little to no time. You know, he's always working, workaholic. And then, but whenever we're around or ever I feel like, you know, there's something that we could work on together, he never hesitates to extend his hand, and he's just family. Are
you ever in some unbelievable state when you find out all these artists like Kendrick, they know who you are? Like, man, Kendrick knew who I was. Are you ever surprised? Do you still get that little feeling in your gut, like, wow? And it's also co-signing like, damn, I'm doing something of impact for these people to know who, you know, Anderson is.
Yeah, for sure. It's just almost surreal, you know, just really humbling, and like, you know, everything's moving so fast. But when I get some time to think about it, I'm just like, dang, this is crazy, you know. Like Kendrick, that's my peer. Like these are all people that are my age. We're all the same age. Mm-hmm. So to see them dominating the industry now, it's a trip, because these are the folks that are the main, you know, people this is people that they call kings of the industry. You know, him, Cole, Bruno. Yeah. These are all people my age. You know what I'm saying? So.
What was it like working with J.Cole? Y'all have a song on the new album?
Yeah, Cole's amazing. You know
and he produced it?
No, Chris Dave actually, who is, I believe, is from Houston and went to what's the school? The music school, high
school of performing arts.
Yes. One of my favorite drummers, and he attended that school. And
Dave is a dope
musician.
He's
a jazz great. Mm-hmm. He produced that, Chris Dave and the Drumheads, and that was one song that again I had early on. Just like Tints, you know, and we have been working on one of the first tunes we worked on for the album almost 2 years ago, and Dre played it for him, and then I went on tour with with Cole. I was on the For Your Eyes Only tour, and he really loved that song.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and he came in and laid his verse, and he's just the most humble dude, real good, family man, just like real solid dude, man. He also gave me a book. He was one of the only artists that told me, you should read a book, man. Stop drinking tequila and read a book.
I got it. You know we're going to ask what book he gave you to read.
Yeah, it was a Playboy. No, I was kidding.
No,
it wasn't. It was a book called The Way of the Superior Man. And yeah, I still go back to it. Just like, it's really
Why did he give you the book, you think?
Probably because he thought I was ratchet, and I probably thought I needed help. Like, you need this book, bro. Yeah. Why don't you...
That's kind of dope, though, that he gave you a book.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, you meet so many different people with different vibes, and you meet somebody like, hey, man, you should read this.
Yeah, some people give you a headache, and he gave me a book. And so
Gave
it's like,
knowledge.
you know, it's like, it was really cool, man. He's always, again, just like, man, whatever you need. And just like, every time I hit him just about something, if it's about music, if it's not about music, he's right away. And just super humble, you know. Dude worth $30 million, but look like he'll ask you for $5. Let me hold something. You know?
True.
Like, yeah.
Very, very, very
So
true.
what's it like for you also as an artist and as a father? 'Cause I saw your son was in the Bubbling video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's that like for him?
It's amazing, you know. He like, teach me more things than I teach him, you know. He's like just like super, just, you know, he got it, you know, like something about him. And I always tell him, I'm hurry up and get out the way so you could do your thing, man. All this stuff is for you, you know, trying to open up this lane for you. And I just love it, you know. I don't get a lot of time with him as much time as I want, so that's why it's like I bring him in these situations, you know, like with my videos, or like I'm eventually have to take him on tour, and you know, he's gonna keep me out of trouble. And,
So you want him to do music though?
I just want him to do whatever he wants, you know, whatever makes him happy, you know. Like I see that's like things that spark his interest, and I just try to like put, you know, support, let that, you know, shine. And that's what my parents did. Like when I wanted to play drums, or when I wanted to, you know, wear cross colors and whatever I wanted to do, they were like, yeah, we support you. And like, you know, when I wanted MVC, yeah, when I wanted turntables, yeah, they supported that. You know, I was able to have an outlet, and that's the same thing I do with him. You know, like just like my mom, I'm working all the time. So whenever I'm there, I just trying to make most out of the time I have.
What is that relationship like now that she gets the chance to see, a baby boy doing what he's doing?
My mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, she loves it. She's just like my biggest cheerleader, my biggest fan. She did 7.5 years in prison, like my senior year. And I was, really, really like thought I was gonna get signed. Like when I was in high school, I was really like going back and forth to Atlanta and having label deals, and I was making beats. I had my own demo. I was rapping, and she was always supportive, but so busy and stressed. And then when she got put down for 7.5 years, it just shook my whole foundation, and then I ended up having to stop doing music for a while and just get a job. And I was doing like again selling weed and doing all these different things that were kind of just like outside of my lane and like below my purpose. And then I was just shooken up by that. And so eventually I got back on track and got back with music, and I was always working while she was in there. And every year it was getting better, and she was always supportive when I go visit her. Just keep on doing it, and just keep on doing it, even when it wasn't looking good. And
right.
Maybe you should get a job, baby. I don't know, but she was always supportive. And then when she got out, I was finally like, I wasn't where I'm at now, but I was at least doing it full time, and she just couldn't be more prouder. And then every year got better and better, and then now she's just like, when I see her, she's just always just lights up, and she's always texting me, send me that thing you did with Trey, and send me this thing, and can you transfer my songs over to the iPod and stuff? And, she's just like, I love her to death.
Go ahead, Keisha.
Real quick, because I ain't going to get close enough to Dr. Dre to ask him this. Is Detox shelved? Do you think it's ever going to come out?
Wait a minute. We got
I'm going to get to Dr. Dre. So I got to know. Is
all of your connects in Cali.
Are we going to get Detox?
The word of the day is Oxnard. I can tell you, Oxnard would be out November 16th.
You do have a carnival, right? You have a carnival to go along with the album, right?
Yes,
in a couple days?
Yes, we just announced the carnival. We're doing it in my hometown. My hometown's going through a lot of different stuff right now with the fires and
the
even the shootings and stuff. So, we was planning this beforehand, but we were just getting it together. And so we're putting something together really special it's all free. And we made sure that people in Oxnard and in the county could register first, and before we made it open to the public and stuff. So we're doing the carnival, the listening party, signing, a bunch of stuff.
Now your people good though, right out there?
My people good.
Okay,
yeah.
you good? Your house good? Okay, because it's where the money at. I know you got the money, so I know your house
Mine's good. I sound good. I got insurance, all that stuff. So, but yeah, there's just a lot of people affected, and so we just wanted to make something real special.
All right. Want to end this with Oxnard. Tell them what they need to do, and also how to follow you too, for those that may not know who Anderson is, so they can follow you and be a part of your life. All I'm gonna say is, for those that don't know, brother is crazy talented. I hate to say, because you shouldn't put this kind of stuff on people. When I'm like, he rapping that good, because it was a show.
Mm-hmm.
I once saw playing drums, so I'm thinking the brother just a drum in his band. He can sing a little bit, and then I saw a show. And I'm saying, what is he? Drummer, singer, rapper? And he's doing it all at a superior level. You know what I'm saying? He's like a master at it. Yeah. So when you see somebody, I'm like, I bet in real life
covers. Have you seen the covers?
The covers are good.
The Juice WRLD version. I just recently saw that. I was like, what? Amazing.
Yeah. No,
and that's not to gas you up. I'm being honest with you. Usually somebody, they great at this or they great at that. But when you see somebody that's really great at a lot of different things, history says.
Appreciate it, man.
But history is proving me wrong.
Right.
History can be changed and rewritten.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing.
He's
Making
doing
history.
that. Yeah.
Carving our own lane, and hopefully we see more musicians in hip hop that are playing instruments and doing more than one thing.
Yeah.
And not afraid to smile.
Huh.
But yeah, Oxnard, November 16th. Dr. Dre mixed the whole project, co-produced the whole project with me. I got amazing production and features like J.Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Q-Tip, Snoop Dogg, Coco Sarai, Norel, Sonia Elise, Pusha T, BJ Chicago Kid, Artful Dodger, Taylor Parks. Just amazing. We headed up the coast. I'm back home now. It's the third installment of the Beach City Same Man, New Car. November 16th. Yes, Lord.
And some Paak, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.